Alright, so getting right into it again, don't want to waste any time getting into these mock draft videos. Starting off mock draft 3.0 with the first pick. This should be a pretty obvious one to tell already. First pick, I got Phoenix selecting DeAndre Ayton, the center from Arizona. And I just feel like Ayton is the most complete and pro-ready prospect in this entire draft. Just his build, size, strength, and even ability to shoot from the perimeter that he's even getting better at. But I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this one, or I guess go in depth about this one just because I have before it on my other videos. If you want to hear what I said more about Ayton, you can go watch those. I'll probably link them or something, I don't know. But first pick, Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton. Transitioning over to the second pick, which is a pick that I believe I've had fluctuating a lot in some of my past videos, and that I've just seen fluctuating in mock drafts in general. And by that, I just mean like who's at the second pick, and the fact that the Kings moved all the way up to second has a lot of weight on the decision of this pick. But I got him taking Marvin Bagley third, the forward from Duke. And the main reason I have this is just because they already have their supposed franchise point guard in De'Aaron Fox, who they drafted last year. And I just really think that drafting Doncic would stunt that growth of Fox at the point guard position. Because if you draft Doncic, even though he's more of a shooting guard, just with his size at 6'6", I just feel like having Fox and Bagley will be a much more, I don't know, not chemistry, but like they'll just fit better together, in my opinion. But that'll be a great pickup for the Kings, lay the foundation for the future with Bagley and Fox. I think that could be a great fit for the long run. Alright, moving over to the Atlanta Hawks pick at 3. This might be a pick that could surprise some people just because he hasn't been talked about a lot in the combine and just mock drafts in general lately, is Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson is only 19 years old. He's one of the youngest prospects in this entire draft. Last year at Michigan State, in about 22 minutes, nobody really knows why he didn't play that much, which actually for college that isn't that uncommon for a freshman not to play that much, but in 22 minutes, he averaged around 11.6 rebounds, and the stat that a lot of people are pointing out is that he did average 3 blocks. He's got a lot of raw potential and a lot of room to grow in his game. He does have a pretty nice outside shot, but if he can get that outside shot down, once again, it'll turn into more of today's big men, you know, the guys that can do it all, kind of a Joel Embiid kind of player. But Jaren Jackson Jr. could fit very well next to John Collins, kind of establish a front court in the long run in Atlanta, something that they really haven't had in a while since they had Millsap and Horford and all that. I was about to say dynasty, that was not a dynasty. After that, like 60-win team just kind of fell apart after getting swept by the Cavs and LeBron in, I believe, 2015, but that's besides the point. I still believe that Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Collins will be a very nice front court for Atlanta in the future. Moving on down to the fourth pick, which is the Memphis Grizzlies, slotted at 4. They did fall in the draft lottery a couple weeks ago, and I have them taking Luka Doncic at 4, which is still a very good pickup for them at the 4 spot. And I think that Doncic can be a franchise player in this league. I really don't see him becoming a bust at all. Like, a lot of people are saying that's the reason why he might slip in the draft. The only reason I say that he might slip in the draft is because of the unknown thing. You know, he never actually stated that he would come over this season. He is only 19, so you don't know when he's going to come over. Hopefully he can come over this year, you know, get some production right away for Memphis. You know, they don't really have a franchise player, really. They have Gasol and Conley. That era is kind of falling for Memphis, but Doncic can probably be maybe the greatest Grizzly of all time, depending on how his career pans out there, but I feel like that would be a very nice pickup for Memphis at 4. With the 5th pick, I have Dallas selecting Mo Bamba, which I think is an absolute steal at 5 to still get Mo Bamba, even though Dallas did fall in the lottery. But Bamba is probably the most physically talented guy in this entire draft. He's got that 8-foot wingspan. He had a faster 40 time than Russell Westbrook and a couple other guards in today's league. Guys that are really regarded as like more explosive, like physically talented, as I said earlier, type players. And I just feel like Bamba and Dennis Smith Jr. would be a very nice combination. Bamba's gotten a lot of comparisons to Rudy Gobert, except Bamba has a much more polished offensive game, even though he is a lot younger than Gobert. And I just feel like Bamba could easily become an all-star in his first 2 to 3 years. And it'd be a great fit, like I said, next to Dennis Smith Jr. and Harrison Barnes. Maybe you see Dallas make a little bit of a leap next year if they can attract another free agent, I know they have a little bit of cap space, so that might work out well. And yeah, I just feel like Mo Bamba would be a great fit with Dallas. At 6, it's the Orlando Magic, and I got him selecting Trae Young. I know a lot of people view Trae Young as a boom or bust guy, you know, kind of like a Jimmer Fredette or a Steph Curry kind of player. Smaller shooting ability and really just potentially a game changer in this league. But I feel like he's going to be more like a Stephen Curry just because his passing ability. He did lead the NCAA in assists this past season. I believe at one point he averaged around 28 and 10. I think he finished the season averaging around 27 points and 9 assists, which is still an outstanding stat line. He's the first player to lead the NCAA in scoring and assists, and that's why I feel like he will kind of translate almost seamlessly to the NBA. And I just feel like his talent could really, it's really something that the Magic's organization needs. They haven't really had a star since Dwight Howard, since those 2010 days when they went to the finals. And this would really help the Magic franchise a lot. I feel like he could be, once again, another foundational player for the future. I feel like there are a lot of those guys in this draft, and my dog is right up on me, and I really don't want to redo this. So yeah, Trae Young, the Magic at 6. At 7 is the pick that I hope turns out most in this entire draft, and it's Michael Porter Jr. going to the Bulls. And Porter Jr. has actually shown a lot of interest in Chicago and I guess Sacramento. He's liked a couple tweets on Twitter just about him going there and how he's one of the most underrated players in the draft, which I feel is true. You really look at it, if it wasn't for the injuries, Porter Jr. would probably have been the first pick, like undoubtedly, at least top 3, but now that kind of questions, you know, I know ESPN had a mock draft, which that was just kind of disrespectful. They had him going at like 15, I think, or something like that, but I've seen mock drafts where he goes as high as 2. It's really anywhere in the entire lottery, but I feel like there is no way he's slipping past 7 if he drops there. He's really the player that fits the Chicago Bulls the best in this entire draft. And small forward is really the position that they need the most, even though some people might say center, but they do have Robin Lopez and Bobby Portis who can kind of play the center position. But Porter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen would make a nice combo in the future. And you still don't know about Trae Young. Not Trae Young. I was thinking about if Trae Young fell to the Bulls, but we won't talk about that. And Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, that would make a nice combination for the future. I feel like the Bulls could then skyrocket their record next year and maybe be a playoff team in the East with Michael Porter Jr. At 8, it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I got them selecting Wendell Carter Jr., who was Marvin Bagley's front court mate at Duke. Kind of a less heralded guy, averaged about 10 and 9 last year, which is a pretty solid outing for every single game. And he's a guy that can bring defensive ability to Cleveland, which is something we know they need. I don't think it's going to be enough to make LeBron stay. I really don't think LeBron is going to stay at all. In fact, I might make a video about where LeBron might go in my offseason predictions, which might come out next week. I know I'm kind of slacking on videos lately, but it's whatever. It's summer, you know. I'm getting off track here once again, but Wendell Carter Jr. to Cleveland, I feel like can bring defensive ability to them, which is something that we all know they need. At 9, it's the Knicks, and I got them selecting Kevin Knox, the shooting guard, small forward player from Kentucky. And I feel like he'd be a great fit next to Frank Ntilikina and Trey Burke in that backcourt, along with Kristaps Porzingis, which is the obvious guy, and Enes Kanter. They could have a nice little roster next year, you know. I don't know if Porzingis is going to play at all, but Knox is probably one of the most interesting players in this draft. He played out of position last year at Kentucky, so his production and his numbers didn't look that good. But as I said earlier, he's impressed a lot at the Combine. He is one of those guys who, like Mo Bamba, is a physical freak. He's extremely athletic, a great dunker and finisher at the rim. And he's also one of the youngest players in this draft. I believe he's 18 going on 19, which means he has great upside and raw potential for the Knicks, and I feel like this is a pick that they need. They need some more excitement in New York with Porzingis being out. You know, last year you had the whole thing with Trey Burke. This year maybe you can have the thing with Kevin Knox. I feel like maybe he can turn into a Jason Tatum-like guy. He just has to work more on the defensive end. But Knox to the Knicks at 9. A guy that I originally had going a lot higher in my past mock draft videos is Mikal Bridges, and that's who I have going at 10 to Philadelphia, staying at home where he went to college at Villanova. And I'm going to keep it short on Bridges, but all I got to say is he's the perfect 3-and-D kind of player for the modern NBA, and he can slash to the rim very well. As you can see, he is dunking a lot, which a lot of people didn't think he really would do. I've actually seen a lot of comparisons of him to Tony Snell, which I feel like is kind of just a dirty, kind of doing him dirty, just because I feel like he's gonna be a lot better than that. And people maybe aren't giving him the credit just because he's 23, going on 24. He's a little bit older for a rookie, but he did stay in college a lot longer than normal these days. I guess it kind of sounds weird to say that he stayed till his junior year, but he did. Two-time national champion at Villanova, perfect 3-and-D player. He will be a great fit in Philadelphia. On the back end of the mock draft, I got the Hornets, who are stuck in mediocrity, selecting Miles Bridges, kind of the guard forward player. He's really a positionless player, but what I can say is that he is an athletic freak, kind of like Kevin Knox. He can dunk very well, and he can shoot pretty, not high volume, but he's a pretty decent shooter. I think he needs to work on that. But last season at Michigan State, in 34 appearances, he averaged 17 points and 7.6 rebounds, which is very promising. For kind of a smaller player, he is only about 6'6". He is 230. As I said, that's part of the athletic part. But I feel like, I don't know, like, he could be a great fit in the NBA, but I feel like he's another guy that I don't know. Like, I get this vibe that he, like, just won't give any production. He's a boom or bust guy, like, kind of like Trae Young. Like, I feel like he's either gonna have a great career, or he's just gonna kind of like average 5 points and just be like a role player for the rest of his career. I don't know. I just get that vibe from him. That's just me. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that. If you do, like, say something down in the comments or something. I don't know. But Bridges going to the Hornets at 11. At 12, I got the Clippers selecting Yumbo Sexton, the guard from Alabama. And Sexton has gotten a lot of comparisons to guys like Russell Westbrook and Eric Bledsoe, because he is only 6 feet tall, but he is very explosive at the rim. He basically carried Alabama into the tournament and in the round of 32, where they lost to eventual champions Villanova by like 30 or something. But Sexton is capable of carrying a team, I feel like, kind of like a Russell Westbrook kind of guy. But on the Clippers, they really don't, I mean, they don't need a point guard, but for the future, they definitely do. Right now, they have Patrick Beverley and Milos Teodosic. But I feel like you can potentially move one of those guys to shooting guard, or even move Colin Sexton to shooting guard, experiment with that. But with the first of their back-to-back picks, I got the Clippers selecting Colin Sexton. With the second of their back-to-back back-end lottery picks, I have the Clippers selecting once again Robert Williams, the forward center player from Texas A&M. And it'd be kind of redundant to go over this again just because I have in 2 previous mock draft videos. If you want to hear what I said about that, I'll link those down below. But I feel like Williams would be a very nice pickup at 13 for the Clippers. Like I said, they had back-to-back picks because of the Blake Griffin trade. And I feel like this might be a very nice pick for them just because the fit next to DeAndre Jordan, whether he leaves or not. And then Williams could take over that primary role as the best player in that front court. So, capping off the mock draft once again is a team that I wish made the playoffs last year, the Denver Nuggets, and I think the addition of Lonnie Walker IV at 14 will help them a lot. You know, just kind of increase their bench depth. I don't think Lonnie Walker will ever be a starter in Denver just because he is more of a back-end lottery pick. Actually, I don't want to say that because a lot of times those guys can become starters, but I just don't see him starting over Gary Harris or Jamal Murray in that Denver backcourt. You know that it's kind of already solidified, but bench depth is kind of an issue if you want to compete in the West, especially if you are Denver, a younger team going for kind of like the 6 to 8 range, which I feel like they are easily able to accomplish. But that's pretty much all I have to say about Lonnie Walker IV from Miami going to Denver. And if you want to hear what I said about him last video, once again, I said I will link that down below. You don't have to watch it or anything. I'm just kind of saving time because I don't want to make these videos too long. But that's probably going to be it. I might make more videos coming out soon. Probably not any more mock drafts because by the time I upload this video, the draft will have probably already been, oh, well, no. That wouldn't make any sense. by the time I upload this video, it will be like 3 or 4 days before the draft begins, so I really hope that this video can do well, just because it is so close to the draft and people will be wanting mock drafts. But as always, stay in school, don't do those drugs, and go Bulls.